Welcome in once again, everybody, to the forum where we look at the means and in-betweens, the averages, the highs and lows against the Cindy's from Cincinnati and the average Joes, as this is Prediction League's breakdown as we look back on what happened in Italy, at Clash in Italy, in this WWE edition of the PLB. Welcome, everybody, into the statistical post-show discussion. Hello, everybody, and welcome back in here once again to Prediction League Breakdown. You know what this is, for I'm the man, the simple brand, the voice, for Girl Fawns Professional Wrestling, damn it, and my name is Noah Foster, and also statistically sound. So thank you all for tuning in. Please subscribe, comment, and tell a friend. And if you want to dictate the conversation, let it be known in the chat. It's as simple as that. With as always, I am never alone because my fellow brother in statistician is also here, representing the PapaGino Network. It is, of course, PapaGino, and stay tuned. We, of course, pull you over into the major push for wrestling after this forum concludes. Gino, buongiorno. How are you, my friend? Here we are after Clash in Italy. Time to look at the prediction leagues and the leaderboards once again. How are you?
I'm doing well. Did not once again imperfect, but fingers crossed. There's not any perfection out here, but I know there is. So I'm looking forward to getting into all of that and discussing why we chose what we chose.
Yeah, absolutely, and I love that. And again, shout out to Dave, of course. Always appreciate him. And that's actually a weakest link, by the way. I probably could put Millionaire in there now that I think about it, but I'm still working on other things. Speaking of which, I literally just got done looking at the graphs and updating the scores as of 15 minutes ago, which means nobody knows anything outside me, including PapaGino. So I think without further ado, because this should be a nice, simple, short form, I don't expect this to go for an hour with 5 matches. Nope. Let's get right into it. So first and foremost, for those that are wondering, I, of course, host and score leagues across AEW, NXT, and, of course, TNA. And also, I do live watching events, and, of course, we break it down for the AEW pay-per-views and WWE. So for the Galaxy, the scores will be updated on my extra social media later on, as I've not had time to look over y'all yet, but thank you to the near 40 of you that participated. And, of course, stay tuned for the next event of the WWE League, which will be Night of Champions, and, of course, AEW brings us Forbidden Door, and as we also learn, damn it, NXT brings us Great American Bash. Insert sparklers for Gilbert's entrance here. And TNA will have some anniversary. But anyway, for the team of No DQ, as of course there is also this on the line too, Gino, you were right, by the way. There were perfects. You weren't one of them. But here's how everybody did. And by the way, Kaz, that's 2 shows now in this league you've forgotten. Here's the team, folks. And once again, I am perfection. Not Dolph Ziggler. But, yep, there you go. That's the breakdown. Bossman Rip also got screwed by Gunther. 4 people actually got a perfect 5 out of 5. So shout out to the Rocket, my Ohio brother, Colin Andrew, of course, fellow co-moderator. By the way, go check out that episode of NoDQ Review at NoDQ, folks. Co-moderated by PapaGino and Colin Andrew. They did a great job, as always. And Walter Cruz, shout out to Mr. Liable, who subscribed today to Rage of Wrestling. Well, Gino, there you have it. Looking at the breakdowns across the board, you can see it was kind of a pretty even across the opening match and the freaking closing match. Oh, wait, the WWE Championship Open. What do you know? Kernjurger. So I almost got the order right even in my form. But nonetheless, there it is, man. At least nobody was absolutely unanimously wrong, and nobody did not acknowledge the tribal chief. But how you feeling looking at this, and where you want to begin?
I'm just feeling like, I'm just picking things that I'm just ahead of the curve when it comes to my predictions. Every time I pick something that isn't correct, usually an event or 2 later, they pull the trigger on that person having won. So I'm just getting my timing wrong. But instead of thinking of it like that, I like to think of it as I am ahead of my time on that. Now, I say we could just go ahead and start left to right, man, because that's really what's jumping out to me the most is Jade Cargill pick by JJ. We had the women's WWE Championship on the line, Rhea Ripley and Jade. They've had this back and forth for a while now, and they are building Jade up to be very strong. You know, she's got her group. She's putting on better matches. She even pinned Rhea in that triple threat tag team or tag team match. I can't remember how many.
Match, 6-woman tag.
Yeah.
vernacular works. Stars main event, yes.
Yeah, 3-pack challenge, whatever, trios, triple threat, however you want to look at it. But anyway, that was probably a pretty good reason why Jade was not going to win. This is just how WWE does it. They make their challenger look strong for like 5 minutes, and then they lose, and all the work that they put in kind of gets thrown out the window.
Yeah.
Jade has come such a long way. I remember complaining to every single person who would listen and most people who didn't want to hear it that like they bring her in, she has a showing at the Rumble, and then she goes away, has to get trained. It's like she wasn't the freaking mid-card champion in AEW. Like, is she really that bad in the ring that we need to keep her off television? Then she started the show. Maybe WWE saw some of that poor things, and then they display her, and she'd miss some spots or do some things and run herself into the steel steps, and now she's got a scar for the rest of her life, all those types of things. But the fact that she went over Rhea the last time they faced, that was a pretty good sign. I mean, WWE doesn't follow that 100%, but they're certainly not taking the title off of Rhea on her first defense. I do think that I wouldn't have been surprised had Jade won the title. But, I mean, this is very clearly leading to maybe a best friend type of SummerSlam, Queen of the Ring versus Rhea SummerSlam thing. So we'll have to see how that goes. But everybody else picked Rhea because, I mean, I can't imagine her dropping the title on her first defense. She is far and away the top woman in the company. And you could argue she might be their biggest superstar company-wide, male or female. I don't make that argument, but nobody is quiet when Rhea's music hits. So what went into you picking Rhea Ripley over Jade? Do you just not like Jade, or you just don't think it was her time right now?
It just wasn't her time. Simple as that. I saw the star step of WrestleMania, but it does seem like Rhea Ripley has made her become more comfortable with working in the ring in big match situations. With Rhea Ripley and Rio no longer being a thing in ring as tag team champions, but of course Rio, who celebrated afterwards together, a nice little short I saw. Rhea Ripley is the reason that SmackDown Women's Division has something of merit to turn into, and that's why she's also there as champion. The bottom line is Rhea Ripley is the superstar. She's been the superstar for the women's division practically since being the clean Charlotte Flair at WrestleMania 39. And now the frenemies and the rivals and the two iron that sharpen iron to get on the same roster, it screams your big money match for SummerSlam, possibly out of what may happen out of Queen of the Ring. I think we've done the Jade Rhea program enough, and it was time to move on. And after what they did to Alexa Bliss on SmackDown, it only added for the fuel of the fire that finally Charlotte Flair and Rhea Ripley were going to make sure they double team that B, who was going to have her team move baddies alongside her to make sure she didn't take this title. Nobody wants to deal with a storm forever. There's a reason why Noah in the Bible only dealt with it for 40 days and 40 nights, and there was a freaking dove that sent peace for it. In this case, it was a queen in denim. Bottom line, Rhea Ripley ain't losing that title unless you find somebody of her caliber and star power to carry the women's main roster on SmackDown and make it interesting. You had to go Rhea Ripley here, and the record stands 2-0 against that right now. It makes sense to me because right now, Jade is not ready for that spot. The only thing she was champion was a figurehead for a Maybelline magazine cover, and they didn't even get that endorsement before Evolution last year. There's no way Jade was going to be champion again. Rhea Ripley is mommy for a reason, and mommy's on top for that reason. You'd be foolish to bet against Rhea Ripley. 9.9 out of 10 times, you don't bet against Roman, you don't bet against Charlotte Flair, and you don't bet against Rhea Ripley in a championship affair, singles championship affair. Evidence A.
Yeah, I mean, like you said it. Like, I mean, what else needs to really be said? I mean, Jade came off of her run, barely defended it, but like WWE, for all their predictability or unpredictability, yes, shout out to Colin, co-moderator.
I hope that happens personally.
That would be fantastic. One of them turning heel would be fantastic, and it feels like there's room for Io because we got to remember. When I went to Backlash and it was Io versus Asuka, I went to the whole Backlash superstore that they did downtown and all this stuff. Not one single piece of merchandise for Io or Asuka. Not a Funko Pop, not an action figure, not a foam finger. Like foam fingers? Like, come on, like give me something. Like, and it's going to be hard to sell t-shirts and do things like that if you don't have any to be done. Not even an Asuka face paint mask. What is going on? But with that said, I think that there's the opportunity for Io to turn heel, be like, you know, I'm better than you, Rhea, and I know it, but they're giving you all the t-shirts, they're giving you all the merch, and I'm the one who you've never beat. Like, there's a lot of room for that. So we'll have to stay tuned this summer to see whether or not they pull that trigger. Now, speaking of pulling the trigger, I'm going to save this next in line for the end because it's the only one.
Why would you do that, I wonder?
Well, you know, I feel like that, besides the obvious, I feel like that is there is a lot to talk about with that match. The rest
I feel
of
like
the card,
that's the match that needs to be talked about the most on this forum versus what was actually the main event. So I actually agree. So
yeah.
Moving on.
So we're going to move on to something else that I'm very frustrated with, but I predicted correctly because WWE does this. 50-50 booking, humble culture, and we are going to be doing a deep dive into humble culture in professional wrestling, specifically with the WWE, after this video on Major Push Wrestling. But as far as the predictions are concerned, why have Brock Lesnar come out of retirement just to lose to Oba again? It wouldn't make any sense, even though it would make Oba look like an absolute freak. Imagine him kicking out of 7 F5s and then winning. Huh. Wow, it's almost like a star is born. Somebody call Lady Gaga right now. But at the end of the day, I could see why people would pick Oba, because I did think, oh, well, maybe they're smart enough to understand that Oba is their future. But we've seen it time and time again with Dominic, to Braun, to even Trick Williams with the gingerbread bull crap. Like, they clearly don't want their younger stars getting too big for their britches. And it's ironic because Brock Lesnar is one of the reasons why they feel this way. Because Brock Lesnar got built up, and then freaking left. And just left. And then he left again, and then he came back to bury a young superstar. You know, okay, I get it. He's not buried, but like, he didn't need to lose. So why have him lose? Losing matters in professional wrestling. I know it doesn't, because you can just be booked to win the championship on the next event. But like, I'm so just confused as to where they want to go with this. And it's just dumb, but I don't want to talk about that. As far as picking Brock Lesnar, they're not going to have him come out of retirement and then lose. You knew he was going to beat Oba. He was going to strong in defeat nonsense, which Grande Americano OG looked great. Like, that's how you do somebody losing but being elevated. This didn't elevate Oba at all. Okay, cool. He kicked out of a bunch of F5s. Like, if you're asking me, I would rather take an F5 than an attitude adjustment. Just my personal opinion. It doesn't hurt as bad as it looks. The F5 or the FU attitude adjustment going over, like, so let's call a spade a spade. Anybody else doing that move, it doesn't look as powerful. Even Zarya, I believe, in NXT is doing that move. Doesn't look as powerful, but she looks powerful, right? Brock looks powerful. It's a big showcase of him, but it's really super protected. You're really just swinging your legs. Like, you're not going end over end, none of that. So, yeah, he went through a table, but, like, I don't even think Oba could stand on that table without going through it. It's a big dude. At the end of the day, accurate. Brock Lesnar, I would have been fine being wrong here. Wasn't fine being wrong in the main event of our show, which we'll get to, but I was fine being wrong here. But I had to go with what the writing on the wall was, and Brock's going to come get his win back. Oh, it makes me sick. Noah, please educate the viewers and myself as to why Brock won this match over Oba and why you predicted it. Hello, doggy.
Oh yeah, that's Margot. First time I can see Margot. She's a Dutch Brindle Shepherd mix. She's a good girl. Very
Love
loud
the
one though.
brindle.
Yeah, she definitely a unique color breed, but this wasn't unique. This was obvious to say the least. Brock Lesnar does not lose against the same person twice, and also in this day and age where you need to pick a draw, and Oba Femi right now has been stuck in mid card squashing. You had to make Oba had something to oppose him to a degree, and the biggest thing that opposed him was Brock Lesnar, even was for 5 minutes. And he literally ruled over in WrestleMania. So what did Brock got to do? He had to not conquer, but he had to make him seem vulnerable, beatable for the first time in his illustrious main roster career since he's been up since January. You know they had to do a hat trick out of this because freaking SummerSlam's in Indianapolis. Come on now. Brock Lesnar retired. Brock Lesnar could be put behind bars by what you know, and he could snap the cuffs in half, be brought back in a police car, and still show up and freaking wreck shop because he's Brock Lesnar. You can't cancel the guy. You can't stop the guy. You damn sure can't retire the guy. That guy will freaking come in on robotic legs if he feels like to F5 somebody into oblivion or to somewhat obscurity. Brock Lesnar is Brock Lesnar for a reason, all right? When they ran Brock Lesnar and Obafemi back after WrestleMania, you'd be foolish to fake the same result, especially on something as lame-brained in booking rematch mania in a freaking international PLE house show glorified by an international audience seeing it for the first time. If this was in Oklahoma, this might as well have been a Monday Night Raw with double the commercials. You kidding me? Come on now. Brock Lesnar's not going to lose against the same person twice. It's as simple as that. There's no way I could say Oba beats Brock twice unless literally you believe that Brock was going to injure Oba to the point that he was going to take him out until they do a rematch at SummerSlam. That could have been career-defining for both men, and W's not too wise or risky enough to do that. If you bet against Brock Lesnar, you're foolish after a first-time encounter that was less than 5 minutes. What I didn't expect was him spamming the F5 button 7 times. That was kind of funny, to say the least, but talk about a man that was just pissed off with more management issues than Charlie Sheen. I couldn't go against Brock Lesnar here in what was, simply put, a rematch of comfort for the Beast Incarnate to remind people exactly who the F he is if you piss him off. It's going to be a trilogy just like they did freaking Cody and Brock, except the roles are kind of a bit more obscure because Oba wasn't necessarily passed down in defeat. He wanted more, but he was vulnerable in defeat. Again, the key thing here, the Kimura. If it wasn't for the Kimura, it would have been the same result. And that's why I also went with Brock, because Brock did one thing different versus WrestleMania. He locked in that Kimura, and that was the tipping point to a fall from grace happening or not happening, as we saw. As soon as he locked that in, I knew my prediction was solidified. Brock Lesnar had to win.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I just would have booked this differently. Personally, I'd probably have Oba destroy Brock again and then have Brock do like this destructive war path, trying to get his revenge and putting his career on the line and doing all of this stuff. But I think this result shows that the next time they face off, Oba's going over.
He better, otherwise I think you already just answered your own question.
Yeah. So, I mean, at the end of the day, I love Brock Lesnar matches because they feel different. They're not your traditional collar and elbow tie up, slow, what am I trying to say? Stamina rejuvenating holds and things like that.
Rest holds. Well,
yes.
They do that enough on television. Brock Lesnar in a rest hold on pay-per-view, that'd be something. I mean, bear hug is one thing, but rest hold, Brock Lesnar, same sentence, nope.
Right. And that's just, so it feels unique, and the matches are always fun to watch. I got it right. Am I happy with the outcome? No. But with the predictions, it's almost like betting. Like on sports, you bet against your favorite team, so that way if they win, you're happy, or if they lose, you at least get paid. You can be happy.
They lose, you at least get paid.
That's how that goes. So I mean, yeah, it's pretty standard, straight up and down. I just you're gonna hear a lot of negativity from me at the top of the hour, but we're gonna move on.
Authentic and real. I mean, let's just call it what it is here. That's a little better.
Yeah, look at that, huh? All right, so we're gonna move on to the Women's Intercontinental Championship match
I like the
where
wrestling
Sol
like that.
Ruka was challenging the GOAT, the greatest female wrestler of all time,
Oh, here we
not
go.
just in the ring, not just on the microphone,
Really?
not just picking her hot husband and having her beautiful family and being somebody from another country coming in and establishing a foothold, not just for being that person who lives the gimmick, but also when you see her in real life, she's just an absolute sweetheart. Literally don't have a single bad thing to say about Becky. She takes care of herself. She doesn't, come across as too big for her britches, even though her character comes across that way. She's doing this whole presidential Twitter campaign thing where everything she's saying is in all caps and she wants recounts and all this stuff. Freaking genius. When she is on top of something, easy, everybody in the comments, but she is on top of either the mid card or the world title scene. Hopefully we get her in the world title scene. Wrestling and women's wrestling is better for it. It's just, I have nothing but good things to say about Becky, except for she needed to drop the strap to move on to bigger and better things. This whole nonsense about Becky Hogan that I see online making me sick to my damn stomach. Hello, Sol Ruka. Hello, Lyra Valkyria. Hello, Maxine Dupree. Like, just to name a few. Hello, AJ Lee. Even though, AJ Lee was before whatever, but she's still putting people over. I'm sick and tired of being sick and tired of this Becky slander. It's ridiculous, Noah. But at the end of the day, Sol Ruka had to win this. She hadn't won a match other than by disqualification in the main roster debut. Here we go again. Humbling your future stars. People are really over, but we're going to bunch of bull crap. If Sol didn't win this one, I would have been infuriated, but I still would have been like, you know what? Fine. At least Becky's still relevant and has a championship, because who knows? Maybe she just disappears now, booking wise. So we'll see what happens, but Sol had to win this. She hit her best Soul Snatcher, even though it's still a little off on the main roster so far. And it's just a fun match. But for the love of God, how is Becky not taking to all of these things and complaining? I mean, she's going to complain about Jessica Carr, but they're literally trolling her with Jessica Carr as her referee. And like, every time I see Jessica Carr, it's like, oh, here we go, which makes it more exciting, though. So it's like they're almost trolling the fans. They better pay that off. But knowing TKO, they're going to fire Jessica Carr and we'll never see her again or something like that. But Noah, what would be your thought process? As I believe it was said, this is the first African-American woman, because she is half black, even though she doesn't look it. It's not about that. It's about your heritage. And she's the Intercontinental Champion. Good for her. I think she deserves it. But I would love to not see her be humbled by a Lyra or something stupid coming down the line. Noah, what went into Sol winning for you?
First off, also as a mixed person, being black is not necessarily a historic statistic, nor should it be simply put as that just because WWE believes we are the greatest, we do the first everything. You're also the first to deliver bullshit on a weekly basis with your latest services. How's that for a hot take? That being said, Sol Ruka, she had to win here, or she was already buried under the ties, or she was going to wipe out. For me, Becky doesn't need a title. Yes, you're right. She's a pedestal. She's a pedigree. But it doesn't mean you have to be a champion to continually tell a story or continually put somebody forward. Especially if we're going to give others a chance, let them run with the belt that represents the workhorse, damn it, and create a new workhorse. She didn't need it from the first place. Lyra was the best champion that belt had to start with, and they squandered it, and now she's stuck in tag team mid-cardium. It's one of those things that pisses me off where I don't know. All they do is stutter step. Because all they care about is marketing and name power, for Pete's frickin' sake. But nonetheless, I was hopeful that Sol Ruka would get a chance at this, considering she already had the pedigree as a decent North American champion in this crackpot NXT. So it's one of those things that I was hopeful that Sol was going to win, all right? And I'm glad that she did. For me, Becky doesn't need this championship. She doesn't need any championship right now for the foreseeable future, I feel like. She's already a character enough where she can build a storyline, build a grudge, and maybe make somebody else seem as important. I really want to see her try and elevate this roster without holding a title. So I'm glad that So has it. For the love of God, don't ask for a rematch. As far as Jessica Carr, leave Jessica Carr alone. She's an aerial artist. She's an integral referee, much like Aubrey Edwards. AEW and WWE have their integral female referees that lead the ref corps. Let's show them some respect, damn it. But yeah, for me, So, who has not even been on the main roster for freaking 2 months in full, she had to win this. For me, this felt like a redemption arc for both So and Becky after the kibosh that we got on multiple fronts at Saturday night's main event. Not just for the live audience in attendance either. I'm just saying, I feel sorry for you poor unfortunate souls. But anyway, So had to win this in my opinion. Congratulations to her. I hope it does mean a lucrative run. And the fact that she's going to face the first champion to set up what this title means and what Lyra started with this should help raise So stock and this title even more. You don't need a mainstay name to build the Workhorse Championship that still is not even 2 years old. You need fresh faces and fresh opportunities to build a pedigree for a brand new title. And hopefully what Lyra started, Saruka will elevate with all those other names you mentioned that have been stuck in catering, like Maxine Dupree. Hell, Raw's barely got a women's division as it is. So maybe Transfer Portal, LOL, they'll actually get some fresh faces on Raw to do something with. That's not part of the Judgment Day. That freaking tournament itself is a freaking degradement of, you believe all these women are actually across Raw and SmackDown. Could switch into Geico, save you 15 minutes more car insurance. Yeah, I was shocked to see there's actually 8 women on Raw and SmackDown, folks. I forgot. So hopefully this actually means something for this championship in the long haul with fresh faces. Lyra, who is the Genesis. Saruka, who will hopefully be a new beginning. And hopefully it means new opportunities down the line as we know it. But I'm not holding my breath. This is the Fed after all.
I hear what you're saying. And that's why I'm a defender of factions and in particular something like the Judgment Day. Like, if you don't have these factions and these groups and these backstage segments, like, honestly, these people are just sitting and catering, waiting to get fired.
Rob lives off acting as a second fiddle to Liv Morgan in Judgment Day than actually pushing wrestlers in a ring.
They're barely pushing Liv Morgan as well. So I hear what you're saying. But it just doesn't even seem like there's light at the end of the tunnel with all of this stuff. So, and you mentioned
this isn't a booking rant. This is literally statistically saying, does the first match even count? Hell to the fuck no. This was their first listed one. Now, So established something. Becky, let her try on her own.
So if this match ended in a disqualification and Soul had won, the point still went to Becky, though. Like, if the situation was,
and we're stuck in a never-ending story.
Well, great movie, terrible thing to be stuck in when it comes to wrestling booking. Now, she is going to hold the mid card. I think that Becky has elevated the Intercontinental Championship because it's still a relatively new title. Like, yes, having Lyra win it and things like that shows you that we want to put it on actual mid carders who could become main eventers. But right now, as of last Friday, Becky and Tiffany were the mid-card champions for the women, and that clearly shows an effort that they want those titles to have a little bit more eyes on them, a little bit more. These top stars are like care about them, which kind of, because I believe that the person makes the championship and not the other way around. So I think Becky has done a good job building this up. I don't expect Soul to do better than Becky carrying it forward, but thank goodness we didn't get another open challenge when she did her whole coronation ceremony on Raw, because it was like, I'm going to be a fighting champion. I'm like, holy cow, Aaron's going to lose his mind if she says open challenge.
He hasn't already? Dude, he's freaking thinning. He's been doing this stuff now for the better part of 2+ decades.
Yeah, it's I can't imagine now with all this televised wrestling. It's not just tape sharing.
I'm so damn glad I don't have a job in this business.
It's definitely tough, and it makes a lot of stuff from all the companies feel like I've seen this before. So it makes it harder. Yes, there's a lot more ability for people to get paid, but it does make it a little harder to do something new and fresh, right? Which is why I do like a Brock Lesnar type of match, things like that, or cool moves like the Soul Snatcher. But for the love of God, you're not an emo Rhea Stop saying I'm going to snatch your soul. It's a cool little name for your finisher, but you're not taking anybody's soul in the process. You're not the Undertaker. So that's like, I almost want them to change the name of the move, to be honest. But
I mean, that's a fair tangent. But I mean, as you're trying to make this seem fresh, why don't you go ahead and give a Rotten Tomatoes rating for Tribal Combat, which was the most obvious match since insert match here from WWE.
speaking of Tribal Combat, we had what was the main event of the evening: Roman Reigns versus Jacob Fatu in a Tribal Combat match. Now, I am a little bit of an outsider when it comes to this. I mentioned it last night on the review, but I had taken a step back from wrestling post-pandemic. I like kept my ear to the ground, but I didn't really watch it as regularly as I am now. And since I've been No DQ as a whole, but to me, as somebody who's currently going through a Game of Thrones rewatch, who's watched stuff like Jason Momoa's The Chief of War, things like that. Like, to me, the Tribal Combat, the results, the acknowledgement, and all that stuff, that makes sense to me, right? Like, these cultures, and I know Game of Thrones is fiction, and Chief of War is an adapted reality from what actually happened, but in these cultures and things like that, there are rules, and you're bound by honor, and you're like, if you're going to invoke Tribal Combat, which is essentially trial by combat,
yeah,
right?
End game, call what it is, end game.
Right. But for everybody's like, well, Jacob's now just like a whip dog and blah, 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 blah. No, he shot his shot and couldn't beat Khal Drogo. He couldn't beat the Chief. So when you can't beat the Chief one-on-one because there was no interference, it was none of that. And I like that Roman Reigns is making a freaking point to be winning matches. I don't want to say cleanly because, but it's he's not getting outside interference to win, which was one of the most frustrating things. I was like, oh, he's a 1,000 days champ. But yeah, how many matches has he beat without interference? None. And then they don't give anybody a rematch. So fast forward to now, he's trying to put some respect back onto his name by winning these matches clean. Again, winning them without interference. And that's what happens. If you're in a tribe and you challenge the chief for being the chief, you lose, you're lucky to be alive still. And I feel like that's kind of what the Jacob that we're seeing. He's like, I shot my shot, I missed, I gotta play ball, like I can't beat the guy, whatever. And like that to me works. That's why the bloodline story is still working for me. I hear all the complaints, and I'm not even going to tell people that you're wrong for feeling that way about these complaints. It's all wrestling at the end of the day. It's all subjective. It's art,
accurate
television show. But
it's accurate.
To me, I can't find much more stuff on Raw and SmackDown that I care to watch other than the bloodline stuff. Like, you watch the YouTube videos. So, like, I don't know if you're and I was thinking about this because I might switch to doing that because it's 3 hours is a big freaking commitment. But do you just go to the YouTube channel and start with the videos that started the show, or do you just watch them from the end of the show down? Like, do you cherry pick the stuff you want to see?
Oh, I cherry pick, dude. I ain't going to freaking front you. I literally go to WWE_matches that load the entire promo segment and the matches in parts with zero advertisements because he used the Netflix International feed. And I literally cherry pick what I want to watch, whether it's a match or whether it's the promo segment. And seeing Jacob Fatu humbled and domesticated before Roman Reigns, we'll see what this leads to. Clearly, there's still friction between him and Jey Uso. Whether or not Roman Reigns gets involved in that or, let the children fight amongst themselves, we'll have to wait and see. I mean, again, if seriously, cherry picking is the greatest thing you could do for any content with WWE television. It saves so much time, so much headaches, and I also can literally fast forward through the 5-minute pointless entrance. I absolutely cherry pick. I'm not going to front you. WWE_matches, best YouTube channel ever. That being said, subscribe today. With this, come on now, seriously. Roman Reigns just got the title at WrestleMania, ironically enough, in about a half-hour-long match. And it was literally pointed out where he said, I'm here to be more full-time. I'm here to do things differently. I don't want you to serve. I want you to stand next to me. Well, Jacob Fatu now serves him. You freaking swerve us away from Oba Femi for right now and bring Jacob Fatu out of nowhere to Raw from SmackDown. There's no way they were going to, and I keep calling it. I'm still holding out for it. I still say there's a nice civil war brewing at Survivor Series War Games between the Fatus, freaking Haku, Rikishi, Haku might freaking have a blood face to face for the All We Know, and then the other side of the family where Roman Reigns. It just feels like to me that's just too obvious, especially with Solo Sikoa watching on from ringside. The subtle nuances of teasers to come, but bottom line, like I said, 9.9 out of 10 times when it comes to a singles championship, you don't bet against Roman Reigns. Again, it took the entire kitchen sink to take the title from Roman Reigns at WrestleMania 40. All they had here was one wild Samoan in what he gave a blood oath to make this feel as personal as possible in less than a month. Let's call it what it is. You had to go with Roman Reigns. It's as simple as that.
And, for the rant I went on about humble culture earlier and the mega rant that I plan on going on at the top of the hour, I do think that this is the right call, even though, but I wouldn't have booked it, right? Like I wouldn't have put them together unless you were having Jacob go over. I don't think Jacob should be holding a championship. He is this wild card. He is this Samoan, unpredictable badass. Not Braun Breaker. Braun Breaker's not an unpredictable badass. He's very predictable, and if you predict he's going to get hurt, you're going to win a bunch of money. But this isn't. Sorry, Braun. I'm sure he's a great guy. But I don't like, and the same thing with Roman Reigns back in the day. Like I don't like stuff that feels like you're forcing me to feel some type of way. Like let the story make me feel some type of way. If you have badass written on your attire, that's almost like saying, if you're a girl, I'm a girl's girl. Or that's like saying, like, you don't have to say that. I'm a nice guy. Doesn't need to say that. Nice guys. So I don't want to hear you telling me what I'm supposed to feel. Just show me that you're a badass. And that's what Jacob Fatu does. But in that same exact hand, that type of personality, I don't think even needs a championship. And because the championship to me is regal. The championship to me is elegant. It's top tier. And Jacob is, he's a mad dog. He's one of those guys that if you need something taken care of, you like the Joker. He's a mad dog. You point him in a direction, let him off the leash and go. Like in the Dark Knight. Like I don't blame the Joker. I blame whoever let him off the leash, whoever gave him the authority to think he can go do all this stuff. Like that's the type of thing that I want to see. And so I do like that he didn't win, even though if you're going to book the match, you might as well have him win. Roman might not be showing up every week, but at the end of the day, this is Oba Femi's championship to take from win. Roman.
Yeah, exactly. And now it's just a matter of how do they screw that up.
And stay tuned for that. Now, speaking of screwing things up.
Yes, the actual main event that we want to discuss. And I might add the most polarizing match, not only across Team No DQ, but the entire galaxy, because people are tired of Holman. I mean Cody. But yes, let's go ahead and talk about the Undisputed WWE Championship, where 9 people got it right, and you and Aaron were amongst the ones that botched that prediction.
Yeah, I think I'm done listening to Aaron when it comes to predictions videos. I should be listening to the rest of the panel. But everybody said Gunther. But Aaron, I specifically remember, you weren't on the predictions videos, and I think maybe you should be on the predictions videos.
I ain't giving no any chances. You kidding me? It's far better to moderate versus participate. There's a reason I started my own predictions forum, and there's a reason why I am succeeding and you all are flummoxing.
Flummoxing, correct. And I'm sure, and to anybody out there in the chat, in the world that's thinking, well, Noah just gets to see everybody's choices and he picks everything. No, Noah does it on the up and up, legitimately, fairly, clean. We can still hate him for it, though. So with that being said, this was the closest with the betting odds, like who was going to win. So seeing it essentially be 50-50 is actually encouraging. Like, this is the stats that we're here for. This is the stat lovers that we are. And most of our viewers, I'm sure, are too. Maybe not all, but this is the type of stats that we want to see. Now, here's the thing. Gunther retired John Cena. Gunther retired AJ Styles. Well, he didn't really retire John Cena. He didn't really retire Goldberg because Gunther could have lost those matches, and guess what? They'd still be retired. So That I think is, and AJ Styles put his career on the line. So Gunther winning actually retired AJ Styles, and that was his thing. But either way, they're touting him as the career killer, and he doesn't need to keep killing careers. But for the love of all that is holy with the wrestling gods, what are we doing? Cody has had this championship multiple times now, multiple long reigns. He doesn't need it. You could argue he's better in the chase. You know who needs this? Gunther. Where does he go? Where does he go other than retiring Brock Lesnar? But it sure seems like that's not on the table. That's not on the menu for SummerSlam because this Oba nonsense. No offense to Oba. Oba is not nonsense. This booking stuff is nonsense. Going into WrestleMania season, I wanted Oba to be champion at SummerSlam, and I wanted Trick Williams to be champion at SummerSlam. Doesn't look like I'm going to get what I want, but what do I know? I also said match versus match should have happened at WrestleMania, and whatever. But I digress.
Continue. Yeah, about to say
Gunther shouldn't be taking losses. But the way it was done, so freaking sloppy.
Here we go.
I feel like I'm at my elementary school. Lunch is being served, sloppy joes, and the lunch lady's not caring about making a mess with it. It's just whooshy. Like the camera angle alone. You mean to tell me of all the 17 people they have working in the truck and in Gorilla, and what we've seen from WWE Unreal, where they say, switch the camera, do the shot. This is what's coming up.
Watch reality television.
To not, well, I mean, again, I watch that, but they're almost showing their ass with that show because now I know that somebody's telling somebody, switch the camera, the finish is coming, blah, 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 blah. And they're not, whether they know about it the whole time is one thing, but they're not getting the shots. Like WWE, one of the things that they consistently do better than AEW is their production value. And you're going to start failing at that? Come on. I saw that the foot was under the rope. And then it was like the weird pull-up thing. Like what kind of self-respecting referee isn't understanding where the wrestler is in the ring and going to look at both shoulders? He should be behind the wrestler, straight on, parallel with them, not perpendicular, looking at one shoulder. It's a bunch of bull crap. And I know I'm expecting reality and I know I'm going off, but this is the thing. They want us to be frustrated. Gunther's going to come out on Friday and he's going to be frustrated. I didn't lose. He should have opened the show on Raw, even though he isn't on Raw, because he shouldn't be waiting to talk about how bullcrap that was. And at the end of the day, they're still having Gunther's shoulders down for a 3 count, which should not be happening at all. And this whole not putting your foot on the rope, even though, yes, technically speaking, we don't see it all the time, but if your foot is underneath the rope, that's a rope break. If you're going for a rope break on a submission and your hand is underneath the rope, that counts. They don't always do it that way, just like they don't always do the I'm passing out 1 hand, 2 hand, 3 hands. Sometimes it's 1 hand, sometimes it's 3 hands. So the live crowd doesn't even know whether they should freak out over the first hand going down. Holy cow, Noah. This is infuriating. Please tell me why you picked Cody Rhodes, because he's definitely dropping the title at some point to Gunther, but why not when in Europe where he is from?
Okay. That was great.
Enlighten me.
So first off, I was thinking about Gunther, but again, the way we do predictions adds cards to change, subject to change. You all did your predictions Thursday at 8 p.m. Standard Time. I did my predictions Thursday, 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And of course, SmackDown is on Friday. I always look at the highlights, though, because you never know when something might change or something might influence you. What happened on Friday night? Gunther says, I am going to put you to sleep. And then Cody reacted, dropping him with a crossroads. Now, in previous WWE dictation, 50-50 booking would tell you, or pre-PLE, this is not pivot anymore, booking would tell you who's ever going in with the momentum usually is going to lose or should lose. Well, guess what? It was the latter. Keyword should. And the reason I changed from Gunther to Cody following that segment is, okay, so if Gunther does win like I originally intended, what is next for him, considering there is the King and Queen of the Ring tournament, and also he is a victim of that as well, in a way. Lest we forget, controversial, the Randy Orton thing. Of course, that was remembered at Bash in Berlin. By the way, geography lesson for you. We were in Italy. He's in from Austria. They may be in the same the continent, but they are not the same country. That being said, now that my Professor Frank nerd moment is out of the way, the bottom line, unfortunately, it's as simple as this. Like I said about Charlotte Flair and Roman Reigns and Rhea Ripley, I feel like now you need to add to the conversation Cody. Yes, he's definitely one of those that you probably do buy more on the chase. But as long as he's calling himself QB1, this quarterback's going to make sure that he scores the touchdown at the end of the day. I also think that right now they have nobody else for Cody, so they went the dubious route. Not disqualification, but Cody gets the win via pinfall. But again, controversial. Referee decision's final. Foot broke Connie at the bottom rope. They're going to run this forward. For me to believe they're going to run this longer, and for me to believe what happened on Friday Night SmackDown favors the champion, but also for me to believe in the end, maybe Gunther could put Cody to sleep, I had to look at the fact that this is, might I add, their, I believe, second ever one-on-one encounter. Cody had to win. It was a matter of how strong you make Cody look, or how desperate you make him look winning in the end. They went the desperate route. For me, Gunther is meant to be champion, but I also get the statistical fact that when Gunther is champion, he's always pigeonholed to lose it to somebody that maybe shouldn't beat him, considering what it follows up to. 5 minutes, CM Punk, Jey Uso experiment, Sami Zayn, Intercontinental Championship run. Shall I continue? The only one that made sense was Ilya Dragunov, considering how personal that got and how raw and how hard he fought for it. For me, I just feel like right now they're going to deal with the Cody and Gunther thing because on SmackDown, that's all they got. Yeah, you got Ricky Saints. Guess what? Gunther came in the same night Ricky Saints showed up. So where's Ricky Saints stock now? Royce Keys. Okay, they were involved in AEW. What have they done with Royce Keys since he won the Dre? Okay. Who else we got on SmackDown? Sami Zayn. Oh, wait, that's right. He lost at the Royal Rumble against Drew McIntyre. It's been nothing but a Cody Crybaby. So yeah, there's that. Bottom line, unless you tell me and make me believe you got more besides Gunther and Cody, with Cody being the one to beat versus Gunther being one to chase, you had to have Cody leave with the strap. At the end of the day, no predictions are about who leaves the strap. I personally thought this was going to lead to Gunther being pissed off to the point he was going to put Cody to sleep, but get disqualified. Either way, my outlook was Cody was not losing the title. And it was all because of what happened on Friday night. That declaration by Gunther and Cody's reaction. Those two elements right there tell me they're going to foretell this at least through Night of Champions, if not longer. I had to go with Cody retaining.
Thank you for explaining that to me. I appreciate it. And obviously you were correct in this, and I was wrong.
I sometimes wish I wasn't right. I'm like Corey Graves. Man, I hate being right because at the end of the day, I care more about winning the All Elite League, which I won last year, versus the Fed, which I'm semi-interested in. I was better off ordering DiGiorno versus watching this show. And God bless my friend. He ordered Vito's. And again, JJ and Jeff on commentary and Walter made this show fun. At the end of the day, we were watching a Raw Super Show with more advertisements than Netflix. And it started off with one of the biggest underwhelments for the championship of the company, might I add, as the curtain jerker.
On top of that, it was on ESPN1, and like I can't imagine being like at a bar, oh, WWE's on, let me pay attention to it. Well, that's a dumb finish. I don't think I'm gonna watch anymore. I might leave. I might not get the ESPN.
No,
or
they'll
get
just change the
VPN
channel to some football game because thankfully it was Sunday. I'm sure there was some sort of game on or something.
The spring football league. I don't know what's going on with that, but real football, professional NFL football is not. It's not going to be here for a little bit, but you will know.
I was talking about the international one, but
yes,
your point makes sense
football. Gotcha.
Yes, football. Yes.
Football non-Americano.
I'm pretty sure most of the audience in Italy cared more about football than they cared about the WWE show versus going there.
I will say this, as a fellow Italian of Italian descent, the crowd was great, but there was no need for a card this strong. Like going into it, I know that at the end of it wasn't, but like they would have showed up if it was Julia versus Kiana James. They would have showed up if it was Los Garzas versus the War Raiders in the main event. Like, they were showing up to this event. I don't know why they felt like they need to throw all this at the wall unless there's some sort of plan, which we know there isn't, but they might think they have a plan coming out of this moving forward. So I'm literally going to get sick to my stomach if I keep seeing that name, that Gunther's name in yellow. So let's go ahead and we'll move on, and we'll see how people fared and where we are halfway through the year, almost to the day, halfway through the year.
Yeah, actually, you're right there, honestly. So that being said, because no one knows the league except me, and for those that are wondering, by the way, yes, I do Google Forms. Yes, I gather everyone's predictions in the poll. Yes, I sometimes get the percentages of the polls on Sleepy Ditty, which you can catch usually at 11:30 p.m. Standard Time live every Thursday on my Submarine Brand YouTube channel. But outside of that, I do not scroll and see each individual prediction in team or galaxy until I score. And again, due to the time and work being far more chaotic and bigger priorities on my mind versus this mid passion for the Fed's entertainment. Here is the team, because I was able to finish scoring them. And stay tuned, Galaxy. You'll get your scores probably tomorrow. That being said, I'm on top. I'm officially ranked number 1, thanks to my perfect. I have elapsed Caitlin because she also, as you saw, botched one of the predictions as well. She also went with Gunther, and that bit her in her buttocks. So yes, I reign supreme right now in WWE, followed by Caitlin and Steve-O, who has cements up in 3rd, and Aaron has fallen 4th. And Gino, you are literally right behind the crew there with Dwayne as well. And as you can see right now, 38 on down. It's pretty much a 1-point margin. Dave Scheffler and Gilbert above. But yes, I am currently right now in the lead. And shout out, by the way, again to Walter, Colin, and David, and me. That scored perfect on what pretty much was predicting a Raw Super Show. Again, the hollowness in victory.
I think I need more bonus points, so I'm gonna have to encourage Aaron to give bonus points coming up.
So I asked Aaron if he's gonna do a bonus point for anything. He's like, nah, no bonus point. I wonder if he's regretting that now. He'll regret when I show him this though inside the chat, which I will share once we conclude. But there you go, Gino. You're very much still in it, but you're literally outside the top 3, but you're in the top tier 7.
We'll change that. Don't you worry about that. We're gonna change that. We're gonna change that. They're gonna acknowledge me at the end of the year.
Next not a champion. So we'll see what acknowledges who. Right now, though, you guys are all chasing me.
We are. Night of Champions. You mean where their biggest draw so far is going to be 2 non-champions fighting to face a champion on a bigger, better event? Okay.
Yes, that's correct.
Okay, just checking. And Roman Reigns isn't scheduled for it, and he is the champ. Okay, just checking.
No, you're right.
Show us the galaxy, Noah.
I don't have the, like I said, I don't have the galaxy. Yeah, I got to finish it up. Apologies, folks, but again, I'll have those tomorrow. Again, I literally scored this 15 minutes prior to going the airtime because again, we're from a May full of mayhem to a June that's jumping. I am literally hoping for some peace, not just in wrestling booking, which I know is far more far-fetched, but honestly, peace in my standard of living. But again, who knows? But at the end of the day, I'm still going to engage and enjoy life and enjoy the predicting, even if the predictions are hollow in victory for the Fed, which again, the quantity and quality of entertainment is a whole different discussion. You can go listen to Evan and read his books and read his articles more about that. He also had a very nice review for Clash Today, which I also agree with 110%. But it is what it is. So everybody, keep up the good work. And again, to the entire team, good luck to all of you. It's still very much, as you said, we're halfway through this. Anybody's game.
Absolutely. So, Noah doesn't owe anybody apology. It takes a lot of effort and work to do this, so we appreciate your apology.
I feel like I use more brain power in this than I should.
Maybe we can figure out a way to streamline it for you with some like auto coloring and things like that. You can enter the winner in like a separate thing. We'll talk about that off
Trust
there.
me, I can make it much more complicated for myself and just more colorful visually, but I'm just like lazy right now. I mean, I can do the trends, the up and downs between each show and be like, but then it would be like smaller print. And that being said, if Aaron wants to try and pick my brand on one of his predictions video, he could private message me in the chat being like, I need you on this.
Yeah,
Because
we
other
need
than that,
you.
you all can just try and catch my show with my crazy late schedule. Considering I work with
That's
people
what
on
I'm
the
gonna
West
do.
Coast, it is what it is. But if you want to try and maybe go one up in the predictions league, maybe tune in to the predicting.
Yeah, listen to Noah. And yeah, I was thinking about ways that would make it easier for you to do this, not more difficult, because nobody deserves their life being more difficult than it already is. And we appreciate you. I'm coming for that spot, y'all. But if you're watching, if you're watching this video from my channel, I appreciate it. But make sure you go send some love. Send some love. Shout out to Dave Scheffler in the chat. Send some love to Noah's channel. It'll be in the link in the description of my video.
I'm retired to this year. We'll see if I win. I don't know.
Boo! Don't Lesnar us. But yeah. So
Fair
thank
enough.
you so much, Noah. You're the absolute man, and I love doing this with you. Whether I win, whether I mostly lose, it's a lot of fun, and I'm really glad that we've been able to provide this breakdown to the public, to the viewers,
with
to the
the rants,
predictions
with
league.
the real reactions, with the real tags, with the raw feeds, with the real raw talk, not done by Bald Sam and that nice lady, but something that's more genuine for your statistical bound entertainment. Always a pleasure, Gino.
Until WWE puts us on the payroll to break this down, you can trust that we are authentic with our takes. And Noah, just so people know, where can the people find you?
If people want to try and find me, good luck. I'm not social, but follow me if you choose. I'm Foster 1916 on the X and on YouTube, where of course I hosted the predicting and do live watch along commentary for the biggest shows and papers and specials across AEW and WWE. And they probably have me do TNA and NXT. We'll see. For I am nothing more but a simple man and a lifelong fan of professional wrestling, damn it. And speaking of which, I will be continuing coverage for the Owen Hart Foundation tournament, so stay tuned for that live, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time tonight as we continue covering AEW. But I'd always like to remind and encourage you just to love and enjoy professional wrestling, and even you can have fun simply predicting. It's as simple as that. As of course, we pull you away from here into the major push of wrestling. That's ahead shortly on your channel, PapaGino.
Yes, sir. We're going to start that right here in just a moment. Go ahead and stay tuned or switch on over. Thank you so much, Noah. Thank you so much, NoDQ, for bringing us all together. And as always, we'll catch you on the next one. Bye-bye.
Have a good night, folks. We'll see you next time when we break down the Predictions League in AEW and WWE. After Night of Champions and the Forbidden Door, who will take it all? It is still far, far from over. There is so much more. Thanks for tuning in, folks.